This story was nearly lost until someone whispered it to the flames. Pull up a log, take a seat, let the dark settle in. The fire remembers what the world forgets, and once it starts speaking, it doesn't stop. Some say the stories it remembers are just legends. Others say they happen exactly this way. But you'll have to decide for yourself. Welcome to Whispers by the Flames. The lights went out at mile marker 113. I'm not sure why I'm posting this. Maybe I just need someone to tell me I didn't hallucinate at all. Maybe I just want someone to say they've seen it too. That it's not just me. This happened 3 weeks ago. I was driving cross country alone, moving from Michigan to Nevada after a brutal breakup. Everything I owned was stuffed in the back seat and trunk of my beat up Civic. It wasn't ideal, but it was mine. And I needed to get out. It was around midnight when I hit the stretch of highway that runs through the middle of Nebraska, flat, black, and endless. The kind of place where the sky swallows the world whole and there are no headlights in either direction. Just me, the hum of the engine, and the rhythmic flash of mile markers. I remember passing mile marker 112. I even remember thinking I'd stop at a gas station in the next town to grab a Red Bull and use the bathroom. I hadn't seen a town sign in a while, but I wasn't worried. My GPS said I was about 30 minutes out from a place called Stillwater. Then the lights went out. Not my headlights, the sky. The stars, the moon, the glow on the horizon. One blink, and it all just disappeared. Like someone threw a black sheet over the world, the car still ran. Headlights still worked, but beyond that, nothing. No glow, no horizon. Just pitch. I slowed down, assuming maybe I drove into a dense fog or some sudden storm cloud. Even though the weather was clear seconds ago, I tapped the brakes. That's when I realized my odometer was stuck. 113.0 miles. Exactly. And then I saw her. There was a woman standing on the side of the road. Pale. Still. Wearing what looked like an old hospital gown. Her arms hung at her sides. Long black hair clung to her neck. She didn't look at me, didn't wave. Just stood there like she'd been placed there by someone who didn't know what to do with her. I swerved around her instinctively, heart hammering so hard it felt like it would crack my ribs. I watched her vanish in my rearview mirror. Not walk away, not fade. Just blinked out of existence. I floored it. Didn't stop, didn't breathe. I kept driving until I hit the next gas station, and that's when things got even weirder. The clock in the car, 12:03, same as it had been for the last 45 minutes. The GPS, frozen. The gas station lights flickered when I pulled in, and then died completely. I went inside anyway. The attendant just stared at me when I asked for the bathroom key. Didn't speak, didn't blink. His mouth was open slightly, like he'd been caught mid-sentence and forgotten what he was saying. The whole place smelled like old meat and antiseptic, like someone had tried to clean up something awful and failed. When I backed out of the store and ran to my car, I realized something that nearly made me scream. I never passed mile marker 114. I watched for it on the way in, and again on the way out, nothing. I drove for another 2 hours until I hit the Colorado border. The sky returned. The moon was back. The clock on the dash suddenly jumped to 2:47 a.m. and the GPS started recalculating. I didn't stop. I couldn't. Not until I made it to my cousin's place in Nevada. When I told him what happened, he just said, "You saw the woman?" At mile marker 113, like he knew. He wouldn't explain, wouldn't say more. But later that night, after he passed out drunk on the couch, I opened his laptop to search for answers. In his bookmarks folder, under a file labeled "Do Not Click," there were 3 links. All dead, but one of them was titled, "She Only Finds the Ones Running Away." I haven't slept more than a few hours since, and last night, I walked out to my car for groceries. There was a small, torn piece of white fabric caught in my windshield wiper. I don't want to drive anymore. I rented the room with the red door. I didn't think much of it when I booked the Airbnb. I was desperate, broke, and just needed a place to crash for the weekend while I dealt with my mom's estate. She'd passed suddenly, left behind a crumbling house and a mountain of debt. I didn't want to stay there. Too many memories. Too much grief soaked into the drywall. So I rented a place nearby. The listing said, "Quiet basement room, private entry." The picture showed a small but cozy space, red painted door, cheap furniture, dim lighting, nothing fancy, but I didn't care. It was close and affordable. I checked in on a Friday night. The host didn't meet me in person, just texted the code and instructions. Enter from the side gate, follow the stones to the red door. Key will be in the lock, pretty standard. I arrived after dark. The neighborhood was fine, a little too quiet maybe, but it was late. I followed the path, found the door. Sure enough, it was painted a deep, almost blood-colored red. I went inside. The room was smaller than expected, cold. Not like the basement needs heating. cold, more like the kind of cold you feel in your bones. It smelled like mildew with a faint scent of metal, like rust or blood. I shook it off. Long day. Low expectations. I dropped my duffel and tried to turn on the TV. No signal. No internet either. The only reception I could get was one bar, and only if I stood in the far left corner of the room and tilted my phone sideways like some weird antenna. That's when I noticed the mirror. It was huge, covering almost the entire wall across from the bed. I don't know how I missed it walking in. It was so clean I thought it was a window at first. No dust, no smudges. Just perfectly smooth glass in an old wooden frame. There was something about it that made my skin crawl. That night, I dreamed of scratching. Not just hearing it, I was scratching. My fingers clawing at the inside of a door I couldn't open. I remember the sound of nails on wood, the feeling of splinters breaking into my skin. I woke up gasping, sweat drenching my sheets. My hands clenched so tight, my knuckles cracked. The mirror looked different. Not shattered, not moved. But I swear it was closer. Like it had leaned forward a fraction of an inch. Like it was watching me. I told myself I was being paranoid. I left the room that morning to get coffee. When I came back, there was a note slid under the door. No envelope, no handwriting. Just blocky, typed text. Do not sleep with your back to the mirror. I ran out. I looked around. Knocked on the upstairs door. No one answered. When I texted the host, they replied 2 hours later. What note? I wanted to leave. I did. But I was emotionally drained. Still had funeral arrangements to finalize. I figured one more night wouldn't kill me. I slept with the lights on. At 3:12 a.m., I woke up to whispering. It was coming from the mirror. I froze. The voice was soft, wet, like someone speaking through water. I couldn't understand the words, but the rhythm was wrong. Backwards, maybe? Slurred. It didn't sound human. I turned to face the mirror, and I swear, there was something behind my reflection. Not a shadow, not a trick of light. A person, standing where I stood, but wrong, taller, head tilted too far. Mouth open too wide. I ran, left everything behind. Booked a hotel for triple the price, and didn't sleep for 2 days. A week later, I left a review on the listing. Gave it 1 star. Said there was something wrong with the mirror. Said I got a weird note. Said I heard voices. I thought maybe someone else had experienced the same. My review disappeared within 24 hours. When I tried to repost it, the listing was gone. Deactivated. Wiped clean. No record of it in my history. The host name? Generic. No profile picture. No response. But every so often, I still check. I still search for that red door. For that room with the mirror. And 2 days ago, I saw a new listing. Different name, different address. But the photo, same mirror, same red door. Only this time, the picture's reflection isn't empty. There's someone standing in the room, and I swear to God, it looks like me. My dad built a door in our basement. He wasn't a carpenter. This is the last thing I'll post on this account. After tonight, I'm done talking about it. Because the last time I mentioned it out loud, not even online, just spoken, something knocked back. Let me explain. Growing up, my dad was weird, not abusive. Not loud, just off. He worked at a shipping facility, 3rd shift mostly, and when he wasn't working, he was either sitting in his chair staring at the static on the TV, or muttering to himself in the garage. My mom left when I was 8. I didn't blame her. Anyway, this happened when I was 14. We lived in a small, 2-bedroom house with a dirt floor basement. Nothing special. Just some old storage shelves, a washer and dryer, and a cracked cement sink no one ever used. Then one weekend, out of nowhere, my dad decides he's building a room down there. No explanation, no warning. Just drags a bunch of wood into the house, not from Home Depot or anywhere with receipts. Looked old, like it had already been used for something else. Some pieces had symbols carved into them. I thought they were just weird scribbles or maybe mold. He spends 4 days down there, barely eating, sighing, hammering, singing something low and guttural under his breath that I'd never heard before. I asked what he was doing. He said, making a door, not a room, a door, to where he wouldn't say it. When he was finished, he called me down to see it, and I swear to you, it was the most wrong thing I've ever looked at. It didn't match the basement at all. Too tall, too narrow, carved from dark wood that seemed to drink the light. There was no doorknob, just a small, circular hole in the center like a keyhole, but not shaped for any key I'd ever seen. There were words etched into the frame, not English, not Latin, something else. Jacket, sharp. I said I didn't like it. He laughed and said, "You're not supposed to." That night, I woke up to him standing at the foot of my bed, not saying anything, just staring. The next morning, he was gone. Not gone like ran to the store. I mean, gone. All his clothes, wallet, car keys, everything still there. No note, no phone call, nothing. Police searched for weeks. Never found a trace. Eventually, I was sent to live with my aunt. The house was boarded up, forgotten. But I never forgot that door. Fast forward 10 years, I'm an adult now. Working a job I hate, living a life that doesn't feel like mine. I get a call one night. My dad's house is being torn down to build a new complex. I drive out. Curiosity, maybe? Or something worse. They let me inside briefly, just to see it one last time. Everything was dust and mold, except the door. It was still there. Pristine, untouched. The wood was darker than I remembered. Almost black now. And the symbols, they were moving, just slightly. Like shadows shifting behind glass. I heard something from behind it. Not words, breathing. I backed away, left. Told myself it was in my head. But 2 nights ago, I got a package, no return address. Inside was a carved wooden key, long, thin, almost like a bone. Along with a note, "You're old enough now." It wasn't signed. But the handwriting, it looked just like my dad's. I haven't slept since. I put the key in a box and drove it to the middle of nowhere. Tossed it in a lake. But last night, I heard creaking in my apartment, like something swinging slowly open. I went to the bathroom and found muddy footprints, leading to the mirror. And in the steam on the glass, written a jagged spiral, were 3 words. He went through. You stayed by the fire. You heard every whisper. And if you made it this far, not everything we carry with us was meant to come home. Some doors never close once opened. Some mirrors don't just reflect, they reach. And some roads you were never supposed to return from, but the flames remember. They always do. If the fire spoke to you tonight, leave a comment. Let it know you were here by liking the video. And if you want to hear what the flames remember next, click the video on the screen. Subscribe to take your place by the fire before it fades.